questions a lot of people have about this is that you could have real actors done this way. I mean, human beings. You could do humans. But why would you? I mean, in other words, you can shoot them live
Well,
action.
it depends on the film. Benjamin Button was a perfect example.
Yeah.
That's exactly why you do it, because the story demands it. That's really the only reason you would do it.
But would this be applied to, say, actors wanting to look younger?
It's sort of the reverse process, sure.
Which was done on Benjamin Button for a reason, but it could be done.
It could be done that way, yeah. If that were necessary, sure, you could do that.
I mean, let's say Harrison Ford, decides that he wants to look a little younger in his next movie. Have you heard of any examples of this at all, where actors are taking advantage of this kind of technology to look younger?
No, I know there was the scene in X-Men where they sort of de-aged.
That's right, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen.
Right. Yes, exactly. But again, that was driven by the story. But that was done with a lot of just 2D compositing and paint work. It was all done by hand. It wasn't this kind of 3D physical thing. And again, that's very hard to do. But I think you'll find that, moving forward, it's going to become easier to do those types of human characters. But I don't know that you would do it just simply to de-age someone.
So you would have Alfred Molina dropping to the bottom of the ocean as Doc Ock,
right.
in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
A shot you couldn't do, underwater stuff or outer. You would take the human characters or Superman, up above the earth.
Exactly.
You would take care of that, flying and all that kind of thing. Special effects.
Lots of digital doubles. There was a lot of digital double work in Avatar, especially in the battle. Because they were just things that would have been really impossible to shoot or dangerous to shoot, or camera moves that you just couldn't have gotten. And so that's actually been kind of ongoing for years. It's just more the idea now that you can integrate it more easily into the entire virtual world, I think, is what's starting to come from this.
But you also haven't had entirely virtual worlds before this.
Yes and no, but not to such large extent. But it has been done. I know in King Kong we did a virtual New York for a large chunk of the film. In fact, that's one of the things that Jim was interested in, that we got talking about. How do you create virtual worlds? And parts of Skull Island were done completely as digital creations, and that was one of the conversations that we had that led us into Avatar.
Yes, you won the competition. Everybody wanted that job, and a lot of people thought ILM would get it, but Weta got it.
For Avatar?
Yeah.
We try to just set ourselves up so that we can really focus on the character work. And again, that was one of the big discussions that we had with Jim is, if this movie's going to work, the characters have to be completely believable. And we've just spent a lot of time thinking about that and how to make it work. But then, again, if you're going to do a movie of this scale, you have to build the environment around it as well. And we've paid a lot of attention to how to do that. So we were set up to kind of do everything that the film needed to do.
One of my other questions has to do with the bioluminescence. How do you do that? How do you get all those things to glow, and how do you get people to stand on something mossy and have it turn, this incredible color?
Basically, everything has a layer of self-illumination on each of the plants that we could turn on or off or control how much of it was there. So when they're stepping on it, we had ways to just control how much glow increases or decreases. And a lot of that was because just artistically, as we were trying to lay out the forest with the bioluminescence, it has a different look than it does in the day. You have to select different plants and lay them out in different ways to create the pattern of bioluminescent light that you want. Because just laying out the jungle as it looked in the day and turning the lights on all the plants was just messy. So we had to have controls in each of the plants to be able to go to each one plant by plant and determine how much light each one was going to have and where we'd put it and which ones were actually turned on and which ones were turned off. So there was a lot of art direction that went into every shot. And that was just done shot by shot.
And working with Jim Cameron, I mean, there's a real reputation there. Can you describe how much of this movie would not have existed without him pushing and goading and demanding?
Well, I think none of it really, just from the point of view that this story, the whole enterprise of the movie was Jim's idea. You know, from that point of view, none of this would have happened without him, pushing forward on that. But once he set the ball in motion, we tried to be right there with him, or even to anticipate, what he was going to ask for, to make sure we got the level of what we needed, because we could all take a look at it and say, if this is really going to look right, here's what we need to do.
But was he, a tough taskmaster?
Yes, Jim's sort of method of working is he thinks about it very, long and hard about what he wants to do. He tries to be as direct as as he can with what he's asking you to do. And if he feels like he's given pretty clear direction and you haven't gotten it, then he really wants to know why.